think there's life-affirming adventure that takes everything you love, tests your capabilities, sticks you into it deep where you're going to have to find out what happens to your mind and your body when you're really up against a large task. And I just think it's a glorious way to spend part of our lives and to find out something about ourselves and develop new things within ourselves.
In September of 2025, Shane Schieffer became the first person to swim the entire length of Lake Powell. That's 140 miles in 11 days, towing 215 pounds of gear. Lake Powell is a reservoir that cuts through the desert from Utah down to Arizona. On both sides of the lake, sand-colored canyons rise above the water, which is dotted with rock formations and sandbars. It's a remote, beautiful place that Shane dreamed of swimming across for more than 15 years. I'm Shelby Stanger, and this is Wild Ideas Worth Living, an REI Co-op Studios production, presented by Capital One and the REI Co-op MasterCard. Shane is a chronically curious outdoorsman with a background in business, film, and endurance sports. He lives in Boulder, Colorado, which is the perfect home base for an active lifestyle. Although he had plenty of experience river guiding, camping, and climbing, Shane had always wanted to go on one definitive wild adventure. Shane Schieffer, welcome to Wild Ideas Worth Living.
I'm glad to be here.
You've been tinkering with adventure since you were a kid, and you swam as a kid. Is that correct?
Yeah. It was really when I came out to CU for college that I started testing myself. I loved mountain biking. Before that, I was BMXing. I loved rock climbing at that time.
Did you swim or do anything in high school?
Yeah, so I did soccer and I did swimming in high school. I was a good high school goalkeeper in soccer.
Oh, I was a goalkeeper too. So
Yeah.
You like the pressure, you like to be the hero, or you're okay being the villain.
Yeah,
You're a bit
exactly.
of a leader. Yep. Okay. Totally get you. Okay. So you've always had this like weird adventurous gene inside of you. How did you come up with a wild idea to swim the length of Lake Powell?
Yeah. The short version is I was out with friends on the lake for the first time. And one of the guys headed up and climbed up an overlook to hang out and just check out the scenery. So I chased after him up that because that's my speed. And while we were up there, he said he wondered if anyone had ever paddled the whole thing. And at that time, I had been swimming regular until just a couple years before. This is 18, 19 years ago. And my off-the-cuff response was, I wonder if anyone's ever swam this whole thing. I just have always enjoyed the idea of big adventure. My parents had rafted the Grand. I've been down in the Grand Canyon. I was a river guide. My interview trip was on the Colorado River. When I was doing adventure racing, we were paddling on the Colorado River. So I had thought and spent a lot of time on the Colorado. I love hearing about friends or people who are off doing some odd, big task. I just think it's a glorious way to spend part of our lives and to find out something about ourselves and develop new things within ourselves.
Shane was 33 years old when he first wondered if anyone had ever swam the entire length of Lake Powell. The idea percolated in the back of his mind for 16 years before he took it seriously. During that time, Shane lost his dad and had his own serious health scare. Those experiences taught him that life can be short, and he should prioritize the things that make him feel most alive: nature and movement. How old are you when you actually decide, like, I'm going to go make this wild idea that I had at 33 years old happen?
Yeah, I'm 49 years old. It's 4 years after I've lost my dad to cancer. I'm sitting at this desk early in the morning. Sometimes I like to get up and look up adventures. Sometimes I like to get up and meditate. Sometimes I just like to think. I was like, I wonder if anyone's swum Lake Powell yet. So I took a look at it and I could not find anyone that's done it yet. And it's like, oh man, no one's done that. And as soon as I found out no one had done that, it was game on. You know, that infects a part of your brain and spirit. It doesn't let go.
After a lifetime of fascination with exploring uncharted territory, it's no wonder Shane finally decided to chase this wild idea. But even more than wanting to be the first to swim Lake Powell, He was also excited to spend time outside, feeling present in his body and pushing himself in a totally new way. He immediately dove into researching how to prepare for this challenge. It had been almost 20 years since Shane swam regularly, so he wanted to set a goal that was challenging, but also achievable.
I go on Google Earth and I see it's 140 miles from Height Crossing Bridge to the dam. So I knew that I'm not going to swim 20 miles a day. I haven't been in the pool in 18 years. So I'd kind of said 10 days, 14 miles, that sounds like something I can do.
Once Shane realized that it was possible to swim the entire length of Lake Powell, he started breaking down his lofty goal into smaller steps. This wasn't going to be like training for a through hike. Unlike walking, swimming uses back, chest, and shoulder muscles that we just don't use much in our day-to-day lives. Shane didn't have the time to spend hours training in a pool every day, so he decided to use what was in front of him. Luckily, Shane works for VersaClimber, a company that makes an exercise machine that simulates an upward climbing motion, like you're going up a ladder. Shane adjusted the machine to isolate the upper body, mimicking the extension and pull-down movement of a freestyle swimming stroke. After 3 weeks of training on the VersaClimber, Shane decided to test if his training was working. So he got in the pool and swam for 2 hours straight.
I swam a little under 4 miles. I had never swam more than a mile straight before. I am thrilled because what I'm finding is I have some power there. And I had never done anything before that made swimming easier.
Then what do? Do you keep going back to the pool or do you make a training plan?
No, I just keep doing the same protocol. For the most part, I'm working towards about 20, 25 minutes a day. Go back to the pool. I'm like, if I'm doing 10 hours a day for 10 days to do this swim, I got to see what a 10-hour, can I even do that? What happens to the skin? Does your skin just like rub off after 10 hours
Good
of
question.
swimming? I don't really know the answer to these things. So I went to the pool and I'm sitting there that morning, like I'm going to do the 10 hours today, but I don't want to get in because I know once I get in, I don't get to stop. But I also knew I wanted to be self-sufficient out there, everything from solar charging to water purification, all of my gear, even my waist. So I did that swim 10 hours and I tested things like fins, no fins, that sort of things. I would swim for 2 hours, take some nutrition, swim for 2 hours, take some nutrition, and I go through the day. I end up doing 1,250 flip turns that day. I'm in a 25-yard pool. I forget what that is in miles. It was a lot of miles inside of a 25-yard pool. Shifts of lifeguards start and leave, and I'm still in the water and start and leave.
I'm surprised there's a pool that's open for 10 hours.
Yeah. So I was okay. The real test was two things. One, can I do it? And second, what does it feel like 3 days later? Because that's when you get sore. So that'll tell me how my conditioning's going. So I do that test. And what I find a couple of days later is I'm not really all that sore. So this training is really working. And I'm keeping all of this secret. Nobody knows I'm even thinking about this. Not even my wife.
You haven't told
nobody.
Anybody this wild idea. And how many months into this is it?
I am now
like
3 months. Yeah,
Okay.
almost 3 months into it. And
Wow.
I haven't told anybody because I worked with a writer who did Hollywood and TV scripts. And one of the things he said is that when you're doing something big and hard, if you talk about it, you won't do it because you get some of the recognition from people. Oh, that's a cool idea. A little light in their eyes. You're getting this reward. You're spending what you need to earn before you've done the work. And so if you really want something and it's hard, you need to keep it quiet in that first phase. You need to just work on it. And so that's what I was doing. So for the first 3 months, I don't talk about it. I go do this test. Now I realize I have to start to tell people about this. I'm going to have to take time off of work. This is inconvenient for my family. I have to start to organize logistics. There are people who need to know for me to be able to move forward with this plan. And so I kind of shift from that protecting the idea phase into, okay, now I have to actually lay it on the line and say, this is what I'm going to go do.
As Shane dove further into his training, he started swimming regularly at a large reservoir near his home. He loaded his inflatable stand-up paddleboard with weight and experimented with different ways to tow the board. Ultimately, he ended up attaching it to his waist with a 10-foot bungee cord and a harness. Shane's friend Jerry was planning to boat alongside him for safety, but Shane was determined to do this swim self-supported. Jerry didn't give him any navigation help or supplies. Jerry was there just to enjoy the ride and provide support only if something went wrong. Finally, after about 5 months of training, Shane decided he was ready. He and Jerry packed up the boat and stand-up paddleboard and drove to the Height Crossing Bridge, the official north end of Lake Powell. On September 2nd, 2025, Shane started swimming. Take me to day one. You're at the starting line. Who's there? What's going through your head?
Yeah, we get up. Jerry and I have done tons of things together. So we're just quiet. We're both just getting our gear in order, trying to be expedient about it, get on the water. It's a sense of calm. I think all of that anxiety that starts to build as you get closer to something had dropped away. First, when I got in the car to drive out to Utah. Second, as I was rigging gear. And then third, as I was right there by the water. Overall, day one is just incredible. It's just to be in the river, to start under the bridge. When you're in that water, 4 inches, 5 inches below the surface, everything's black, pitch black. I'm seeing no light at all. So my experience of swimming is absolute black. And then I take a breath and a burst of light and then absolute black again. And I liked that. I thought it was fascinating. It was experiencing the environment.
Okay. Tell me what it's like from sun up to sundown. Like, what's a typical day? Like, you get up and you just started going.
The days are going to look like get up, get on the water as fast as possible, swim as long as you can, go very slow, don't hurt your shoulders, and relax, enjoy it, and do that until basically either you hit 14 miles for that day or the sun goes down, and then repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat.
On an average day, Shane swam for about 10 hours. He packed enough food so that he could eat 8,000 calories a day, but he was only able to stomach about 3,500 calories. When he was hungry, he would tread water and pull food from the cooler on his stand-up paddleboard. That board carried everything Shane needed: a water filter, food, first aid, and his sleeping setup. Every evening, Shane swam to shore and set up camp. He didn't bring a tent. Instead, he chose to sleep under the stars in a sleeping bag.
It's just really difficult when you're working that hard to eat that much food and get it down. I think I got through about a quarter of the amount of peanut butter I brought up there.
What are you wearing? Are you wearing a wetsuit? Are you wearing a triathlon wetsuit?
No, I'm just wearing board shorts, and there's a few reasons.
Are you chafing? Oof.
Well, that's the reason I'm wearing board shorts. So a wetsuit, I'm almost certainly going to chafe. And it's also this I don't want this elitist, I'm in a race vibe out there. What I want is backcountry exploration. And
but you're cold. Like
I was getting cold, not at first. So I was just in the board shorts and I was great in those, but I'm losing 2 pounds a day. And so through the course of it, I lose 20 pounds. So I am getting very cold towards the end because I have no body fat on me. But in general, I'm not cold. And I can feel the water, which is such a great feeling of connection. I feel the place I'm in. I really loved that. And I'm not chafing because I'm really hardly wearing anything. And I liked that a lot better.
Are you doing just freestyle or are you going on your back and side?
I thought that I might do some backstroke for recovery, but backstroke is tricky. So I did almost exclusively freestyle. I did learn towards the end in some big wind battles that I needed to use some breaststroke to recover because I could prevent the rig from pulling me backwards against the wind, but I could just bring down the intensity for a few minutes while I held position using breaststroke, and then I would go back into freestyle to make forward progress.
So interesting. Yeah, I'm curious about directions. When you think of like swimming a reservoir or river, you're like, oh, it's just a straight line. I just follow the curves. But that is not how Lake Powell is.
Yeah.
How did you know where to go every day?
In the first parts, it's the canyon. I see the canyon walls. So I'm just reading those on my glimpses. I'm navigating primarily by figuring out, okay, I think it's going to turn left up there. So I probably need to cross slowly over to the left bank from the right. What I'm really doing, though, is I'm learning to just look at where the sun is in the sky and use that as a bearing. And then it got to the point that I was swimming with my eyes closed. I found that I could see where the sun was with my eyes closed and the tinted goggles on my breaths enough that I was able to swim hundreds of yards at a time without ever opening my eyes. And the only way I can explain why I'm doing this is delirium. But maybe, when you're driving in a neighborhood and you're looking for an address and you turn down the radio, like subconsciously your body doesn't want the extra sensory information. I think that's what's going on with me. My body just doesn't need the visual. I'm only getting glimpses, and the only purpose is to really take a bearing and go that direction. And so I'm going hundreds of yards at a time where I'm just on my breath, referencing that bright spot over my eyelids, and I keep it there for a long period of time. And every few hundred yards I check, the sun moves, of course. I need to make sure that I haven't lost my mind. There's times that I ended up swimming a little off course in that process. I ran into Jerry's boat a couple of times because he was near me and I didn't realize it, and I have my eyes closed. I could often taste if I was getting close to the canyon wall. There's mud and mussels that cling to the sides of the sandstone, and I can taste it in the water when I'm within 10 feet of it. Incredibly, one time towards the end, I'm in a wide open bay and I hit a buoy. And when you're hit something steel in the middle of the lake, the brain, when something happens, you crash on a mountain bike, you fall rock climbing, whatever it is, a lot happens in about a 10th of a second in the brain. And so it's scanning. That wasn't Jerry's boat. It's not a cliff wall. I'm in a huge bay. I'm nowhere near anything. That felt like metal. What in the world is around me? All that's coming is I'm just getting my eyes above the water and realize that I've just hit. I don't think I could try 100 times and hit a buoy, but that time just speared right into the buoy.
Every year, Capital One and the REI Co-op MasterCard program proudly donate $2 million to the REI Cooperative Action Fund. The fund supports hundreds of nonprofit partners that are creating a more equitable outdoors for everyone. You've even heard of some of their stories on the podcast. In addition to supporting the REI Cooperative Action Fund, Capital One and REI have partnered on the REI Co-op MasterCard, bringing card members excellent card benefits that inspire more outdoor adventures. Find out if you're pre-approved for the REI Co-op MasterCard with no risk to your credit score. Go to rei.com/MasterCard-podcast to learn more. That's rei.com/MasterCard-podcast. Terms apply. My morning routine these days looks like this. A cup or two of coffee with my AeroPress, then out to the ocean to catch some waves before an interview. And as much as I love being in the ocean, what I genuinely look forward to is using my AeroPress again the next day. It's that good. If you've never tried AeroPress coffee, you're in for a treat. It's a French press, a pour over, and espresso machine all in one. It uses a completely unique brew method, which means you get a cup of coffee that's rich, smooth, and genuinely different from anything else. And it's fast. It only takes about 2 minutes to brew your coffee and clean up. Lately, I've been using the AeroPress Go Plus. It's a complete travel coffee system I can take to the beach or out on the trail. Everything packs into a double-wall insulated stainless steel tumbler for storage and travel. It's compact, durable, easy to use, easy to clean, and it makes great coffee no matter where you are. I just unpack it, brew, and pack it back up. To ensure you never have bad coffee wherever you are, visit your local REI or head to rei.com to grab your AeroPress. That's AeroPress. It's time to ditch the drive-thru, toss the French press, and say yes to better mornings fueled by better coffee. The North Face gear shows up everywhere, from once-in-a-lifetime expeditions to the trail you sneak in before work. Right now, I'm loving their Universal collection, designed to make getting outside easier for everyone. With thoughtful, inclusive design and smart, accessible innovations, their gear makes life outside better, no matter who you are or how you adventure. The North Face has always stood for exploration, Everything they make is athlete tested, expedition proven, and made to perform when it matters. Check out the North Face at your local REI or at rei.com. See you on the trail. In September of 2025, Shane Schieffer spent 11 days swimming the entire length of Lake Powell. He'd been dreaming of taking on this challenge for more than 15 years, and finally getting out in the water was the culmination of months of training and preparation. A few days before he started swimming, Shane posted a video about his adventure on social media that went viral. The feedback he received was pretty exciting, but all of a sudden, there was this whole other element to his swim. A ton of strangers on the internet who were invested in his success. Shane's buddy Jerry, who was boating alongside him, began making daily videos of the swim so that people could follow along. They were happy to share the highs, the lows, and some pretty funny moments with Shane's new fans. Tell me about some of the more funny moments. I mean, everything just becomes humorous out there.
It does. Yeah, we laughed and joked the whole way out. The funniest moments would be little things. Jerry found this fish trap that had a hot dog that must have been 3 years old in it. And the water was so gross and rancid. And I'm getting in the water to start my swim that day. And of course, he's on a boat and he's not thinking. So he throws it in, but he throws it in where I am. And so I can taste that hot dog in the water. Totally unintentional on his part. He doesn't know you're even tasting water while you're in there, but really gross.
That's so awful. That's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
What were some of the most memorable days and the memorable stories that happened during the trip?
Yeah. Days 2 through 4 kind of glob together as really hard work. And then we get to the lower bays and there's these huge, gigantic bays. The canyon falls away. It's not easy to navigate anymore. And it's down there that I got a little lost. Then the wind comes up down there and I had some major battles. The first one, I had started to learn to swim very straight. And I wake up in the morning and I do 5,000 yards in almost a perfect straight line. And I come around the corner. Well, the wind starts kicking up. And when the wind kicks up, it doesn't affect me that much. The swimmer is affected by breathing. The waves come in syncopated patterns or lack of patterns. And so it's hard to time when there's wind. You're doing your best to feel a wave and guess where the best spot to breathe is. But sometimes you come up and you just get a mouthful of water. You're also working hard because that paddleboard is taking a lot of wind. And the mistake I've made here is I didn't stop for a proper feeding after that long swim. So I'm coming in exhausted and cold. I mean, I didn't feel that in the moment, but as soon as the intensity ramps up and I'm in the waves, I'm not really prepared for this level of intensity. And I just kind of enter this fight. And the way the fight feels to me is the mix of hypoxia, where you're not getting enough oxygen. It feels like someone's squeezing your neck right at the base at your collarbones. And it can induce a feeling of panic a little bit. And you have to relax through that panic because when you panic swimming, you tighten your stroke, you lift up, you become less efficient. You actually compound the problem. Then I'm getting a lensing effect and distances are getting distorted. It turns out I swim right past a point that's only 300 yards from me and go a mile directly ahead towards this little white dot that's a houseboat that I think is the closest thing to me. I'm just trying to make land so I can get some food and I can, power up and take the intensity down. So now I'm just battling. And after an hour of fighting this way, having started without a proper fueling, I finally make land and I just turn and I just give this yell at the lake. I'm not mad. I'm just, it was really hard and it was, I don't want to say scary, but the word that came to me when I was done is I called those the drowning waters. Good swimmers tied to a craft in the wind in that situation. It feels like the water that good people can end up in a bad way.
What was that last day like, knowing you only had, ideally, one more day to go?
Yeah. I'd been facing wind for several days, and I was having to stop long periods of time because I didn't have the energy to fight against the wind nonstop. And that's frustrating because I know every hour I'm sitting, I'm not swimming, and I'm adding on to how long this is going to be. But this whole time, even in this wind battle, I'm reminding myself, don't start humming a song in your head. Feel the water, be present. You're going to miss this. It's interesting to realize how much it affects your heart to be out doing something like this. And I can't really put words to why. It's just that I'm getting this generous pouring of space in life. Everybody out there, I've turned into the Forrest Gump of Lake Powell. People are jumping and swimming in with me. They're so positive. You're having this and it's going away. And I'm just saying, be present, feel the water. That's what I'm doing as I'm going into the last couple of days. It's clear I'm going to finish one way or the other. It's not about the goal. It's about getting to feel the rest of it and not have it disappear on me. I wake up in the morning. I know that my wife is in Page, Arizona. My mom, my mother-in-law, who had been running the social media, and her husband are in there so that they can come join us. Lake Powell Burner, this great adventurer out there that posts great content, hooks us up and gets a houseboat for all of my family and friends to get on to come be able to follow me, because this isn't a normal lake. You don't just drive to where the buoys are at the dam. It's a canyon. It's 400 feet of sandstone, but and I don't know how wide. I'm half a mile wide there. So it allows them to come troll along next to me without all having to try and pile onto Jerry's 12-foot boat. And I feel really good in the morning. I'm just gliding in and I'm just swimming smooth, and it feels good. And I know it's coming to the end, and I stop and I take off the wetsuit because I want to feel the water as I finish. And I have what I think is 2 or 2.5 miles left, and it turns out to be 5.
Sorry, but that's always the case.
It's always the case.
That sucks.
I know.
Sorry.
And then the wind kicks up. And for the first time, I feel that vignetting. A vignette is where you get the edges of a photograph darken. That vignetting of fear is coming in, where I don't know if I can make it through this section in this moment. I'm so tired that I'm not sure if I stop and I grab onto my own stand-up paddleboard that I have the strength to hold that and that I can stay up in these waves. I'm not sure I could keep my head above water if I stop swimming. That sounds dramatic, but I've lost 20 pounds. I've swam my total actual swim was 146 miles. So I've swam 143 miles.
But more than that, because you're swimming against current. So and
I'm being tested. Yeah. And that was scary. And it was sad because I got my family watching me as this is happening. And I just had to push, and I just had to turn the arms, even though I didn't have anything in me. And I did it, obviously. I did it, and I fought to a point, and I was shivering so hard that I couldn't put the wetsuit back on. And I come around the point, and now I see the edge of the dam. And I'm out of that canyon. I'm out of that washing machine. And so it's not as bad anymore. And I get that's the finish line. And yeah, that's the end, 146 miles. And my wife does this hero leap off of the houseboat, fully clothed, swims over and wraps me in her arms. And it's just such a great moment, because when I saw her early in the day, I would not hug her. I said hi to her, but I wasn't going to hug her. I didn't get to touch her yet. I had to get to the end. So anyway.
You're making me choke up. This is an awesome story.
It's emotional. I've never done something so hard. I've done big races. I've done the kinds of things where people break down and sob at the end, but I've never personally gone through that experience. I celebrated. I swam boat to boat. I shook hands. It was really fun to talk to people. At one point, I just sit down and I just become overwhelmed. The work of it just is flowing back out of me. It's as if I had inhaled all the work over 11 days, and now it was exhaling back out of me. That's when I was first just totally overwhelmed. And now when I talk about it, I touch that again. And that's great, because that's one of the gifts this journey gave me. It's one of the things you get if you say yes and you go out there, is something that touches you so deeply that it overwhelms you to talk through it.
Spending 11 days on the water marked a profound shift in Shane's life. He achieved an ambitious outdoor feat that he'd been dreaming of for more than 15 years. When he came back to life on land, he discovered that being underwater for that long can have a strange effect on the brain and the body. It's been almost a year. Well,
6 months.
It's been about a half a year since you finished. Now looking back, how has it changed you?
A few ways. My brain wasn't right when I got back. I was sitting in traffic dead stop for a few minutes and rear-ended a guy twice. I get out, I'm like, I am so sorry. I can't tell you other than my brain just short-circuited what just happened. He was really cool about it. So it took a while for my brain to reintegrate to society and normal tasks like being able to be stopped at a stoplight. People often ask, what have you learned? And it comes slow. It starts as feelings. And I think I'm still in the feelings place of what I've learned. I feel different. I have new capabilities because I push myself to new levels. And that changes how I see the world.
I mean, I don't think there's a better feeling than to be deeply satisfied and at peace with knowing what you're capable of and having love around you and doing it for love. It doesn't sound like you did this adventure because you were escaping some dark trauma or, you just needed to get your head right. Like you genuinely just sort of wanted to see if you could do it.
Yeah. I wanted the chance to experience the mind and body under difficult circumstances and find out what happens and find out how I could respond to that. I think our spirits are huge. I think Lake Powell is the size of a human spirit. It's why it feels good out there. I think that our lives make our spirits small. And when we go out there and it gets to expand to its natural volume, not because we're important out there. I'm just one little thing in this vast space. It's not that my spirit isn't dominating that space. It's just breathing in that space. And I'm doing something that's hard. And I've set aside this time in my life to actually do a thing and not wish a thing.
Originally, Shane wanted to set an official record for being the first person to complete the swim across Lake Powell. In the end, he was so fulfilled by his adventure that he didn't even feel the need to submit all of his evidence right away. When we spoke, he said he'll probably gather everything to send to Guinness soon. If you want to see videos of Shane's swim, check out his Instagram at Shane Schieffer. That's ShaneSchieffer. Wild Ideas Worth Living is part of the REI Podcast Network. It's hosted by me, Shelby Stanger, produced by Andy Fassler, Sylvia Thomas, and Sam Pierce-Nitzberg of Puddle Creative. Our senior producer is Jenny Barber. Our executive producers are Paolo Motola and Joe Crosby. Thank you again to our sponsor, Capital One and the REI Co-op MasterCard. As always, we love it when you follow the show, take time to rate it, and write a review wherever you listen. And remember, some of the best adventures happen when you follow your wildest ideas.